We're going to get back to Isaiah chapter 37, verses 21, 22, and 26 again, as we do part 2 of yesterday's devotion. Then Isaiah, son of Amos, sent to Hezekiah, saying, Thus saith the Lord, the God of Israel, because you have prayed to me concerning Sennacherib, king of Assyria, this is the word that the Lord has spoken concerning him. In verse 26 it says, Have you not heard that I determined it long ago? I planned from days of old what I now bring to pass. In the last devotion, we saw Hezekiah prayed and that the Lord sent him a message of assurance. Our conclusion is that there is a great assurance in God's sovereignty. Now, we could write volumes on prayer, and many have done so, yet one question remains from Hezekiah's experience. Since God has a sovereign program that he works to fulfill, how does our prayer have anything to do with influencing the outcome? And many incorrectly assert that our prayer can force God to act. The natural extension of this is that if we pray hard enough, God would do something contrary to his sovereign program. However, this would make God subservient to the will of man, which is not the case. We are subservient to God. This would also mean that God would be capricious or fickle. Now, James presented some precepts that will help us grasp how our prayers fit into the supreme working of God. Look at James' words regarding prayer when he wrote, You do not have because you do not ask. James clearly indicated that our asking joins with the sovereign program of God in some way. And from these words, we must conclude that God's sovereign program is vitally linked with certain prayers of the saints. Thus, we must pray. We have to pray. Moreover, James indicated, You ask not and do not receive because you asked wrongly to spend it on your own passions. Here we understand that not everything for which we pray fits into God's sovereign purposes for us. He knows what we need before we even ask. It is when our prayers join with his sovereign program that our prayer is powerful and effective. John reinforced this thought, and this is the confidence that we have toward him, that if we ask anything according to his will, he hears us. And if we know that he hears us, in whatever we ask, we know that we have the request that we have asked of him. Effective prayer is about us joining God's sovereign program. It is not the other way around. We call upon him in an effort to join our hearts with his to see his purposes accomplished. In this case, Hezekiah's prayer for deliverance from the Assyrian threat, his prayer was a vital part of God's program, his plan. We ought to look at every situation and pray from the perspective of God's sovereignty. He does have an awesome plan, and we should consider his purposes and pray for his will to be accomplished in everything.